Hello, this is Dr. Paul Cottrell, and I'm going to be doing a video on the overnight repurchasing agreements from the Federal Reserve and institutions that access the Federal Reserve window. There's been some activity that's been taking place recently that I think that we should start thinking about as we move towards the first quarter earnings for 2026. I'm doing this recording on January 4th, 2026. Thank you for joining. I greatly appreciate it. Please make sure you subscribe to all my channels. I have YouTube, Brighteon, Bitchute, and Rumble. You can also follow me on X, GETTR, Substack, Buy Me a Coffee, and Patreon. If you like the content that I provide, please donate on my website, thestudio-reykjavik.com. You can donate through Stripe, PayPal, or Buy Me a Coffee. You can also be a paid member to my Substack and Patreon channel. All the videos I do are for free, so please help support the work. I also have PDFs about different topics in research that you can take a look at. I also have under broadcast, radio, live, and paper, which is a new feature. So under broadcast, radio, that has my audio podcast that you can download or listen to. Live has the links to my live streams, typically during the trading session. And then paper is a new feature that I have where you can get top news that I generate that you can take a look at and read. So please use those features. I greatly appreciate it. All of that is for free. I have ebooks on finance, on genomics, on artificial intelligence, and endocrinology. So take a look at those if you'd like. I also have supplements. You can get structural nanosilver supplements, structural nanosilver toothpaste, which will help to neutralize and improve your oral cavity. This is a very high quality toothpaste. Max 35 will boost up your immune system. It's a liquid. You take a teaspoon a day every day. The structural nanosilver gel, you apply it on your hands, around your mouth, around your nose, around your ears, lightly coat your nostrils. This will stay active for 5.5 hours. Very important to use during the winter season, but it also will help to improve your skin. If you have a cut or abrasion, it will help to heal that cut or abrasion quicker. Structural nanosilver soaps help to neutralize and help to improve the health of your skin. You can get it in charcoal tea tree, lemongrass, peppermint, and lavender. I also have structural nanosilver drops, very important to take during the winter season to help to neutralize. You can get them in blueberry, honey and lemon, and cherry. I also have cleanse, which is 30 parts per million. You use it the same way as the Max 35 to help boost up your immune system and neutralize. And I have in stock the multivitamin. This multivitamin is easy to digest, and it has the multivitamins that will help with enzymatic activity so your cells perform properly. So you get vitamin A, vitamin C, D3, E, B1, B2, B3, B6, folate, B12, biotin. So please go to my, and many others, but please go to my store and get that multivitamin. It's a foundational part of the healthcare protocol. C60 is a very strong antioxidant. It is 1,000 times more potent than a molecule of vitamin C. You can get it in a 2 ounce, a 4 ounce, or an 8 ounce configuration. You can get it in extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, or MCT coconut oil. And this will soak up free radicals, boost up your energy levels, improve the health of your mitochondria, improve your endocrine system, your immune system, help reduce plaque formation, and help with brain function. So by bringing down inflammation and bringing down free radicals, you're going to slow down the aging process and improve your organ systems. Boomer Boost, the boomer products. You can get it in vitamin D3 is super important, especially during the winter season. It helps to get rid of cells that are infected. It helps to get those cells to go into apoptosis. Vitamin D3 also soaks up free radicals, not free radicals, it soaks up calcium to help to build denser bone. So D3 is really important to absorb that calcium and build that bone density. So make sure you do resistance training. Vitamin C and magnesium will boost up that immune system, help with their skin health, and help with brain function. Magnesium is super important for brain function. Omega-3 will help your cardiovascular health, bring down inflammation, and help to control the lipid profile. Ashwagandha root helps with bringing down cortisol levels and controlling your blood glucose levels. Good Night formula has tryptophan, melatonin, GABA, and passion flower to help you to get into 3 to 5 cycles of REM sleep and deep sleep, so you're consolidating memory and detoxifying your central nervous system. Probiotics, really important to take. That will help to reduce inflammation at the gut level, help to boost up your immune system at the gut level, improve your metabolism and brain function. Resveratrol helps with your skin. It helps to improve the basal layer of the skin. It also helps to soak up free radicals and improve the health of your mitochondria, so you're building up more ATP. Vitamin B complex also helps with cellular metabolism and boost up those energy levels and helps to protect neurons. Turmeric brings down inflammation and soaks up free radicals. That's very important to boost up the immune system. Magnesium and zinc boosts up the immune system and helps with brain function. Lignans helps with the immune system and endocrine system, brings down inflammation and soaks up free radicals. Collagen, this will help with your skin, your nails, and your hair, your cartilage, your joint health, your musculature, and bone density. Digestive enzyme complex, really important to take to be able to break up those carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids and reduce the stress on your pancreas. Clarity factor gets rid of that brain fog and it will help you to concentrate on tasks. You take this every day, you're going to improve your neuroplasticity. You're going to get positive neuroplasticity. You'll be able to think faster and you will have better memory. Olive leaf extract, dual purpose. It's going to bring down inflammation and soak up free radicals. That's going to help with your immune system and your cardiovascular system. Zeolite, this will help to get rid of heavy metals, toxins, and chemicals to improve your immune system and your endocrine system. Myotrol helps with the gene expression to build muscle. Do some resistance training. This is polyphenols, flavonoids, and lignans to help with the gene expression to build muscle and maintain muscle. Boomer Boost has 68 nutrients that will help to target different systems. Those systems are brain function, cardiovascular health, musculature, cellular metabolism. Taking Boomer Boost every day will help to slow down the aging process, and over time, you're going to be boosting up that immune system and endocrine system, and you'll have more vitality and a steady burn of energy. You'll notice by taking this within 72 hours that you have a steady burn of energy. Gladiator barley will help to build muscle, but also bring down inflammation, soak up free radicals, and detoxify your body. When you do that, you're improving your immune system and endocrine system. Heirloom barley is very similar to gladiator barley, but it doesn't focus on the strength building. It will detoxify your body, bring down inflammation, and soak up free radicals. Now, I have two new products here, the Super Strong Relief product and the Collagen product. Now, for collagen, it is used to be able to help renew your joints. So it's really good for joint health. As you get older, you start having soreness and problems with your joints. So it's going to help to restore the structure and help to manage some of the pain. Now, how does it work? All right, it's going to be focusing on bringing down inflammation. All right, and controlling what is called joint rust. All right, so it's going to help to control the MMP and the Ep4. Okay, so sometimes you have chronic pain, but that's because of inflammation. Well, if you bring down that inflammation, you're going to bring down that chronic pain. Now, it also helps to revitalize the actual joint, and that's through providing type 2 collagen and argan, ACAN. Okay. So it basically works. Okay. So you're restoring to help to restore, you're restoring the type 2 collagen, right? And ACAN to help to restore the joint. And you're trying to silence the pain and stop the destruction by reducing the inflammation, and it corrects the defective channels that send chronic false pain signals from joints to the brain. So it's helping to manage this NAV 1.4, which is the pain channel gatekeeper. And it also helps to suppress the primary enzymes responsible for destroying existing collagen. So it's halting the MMP3 and the MP13. And then it will also help to open up channels. All right. It activates the glucosamine transport channel. This will help to facilitate optimal delivery of glucosamine directly into the cartilage cells for repair. And then it also ensures chondroitin utilization. Okay. So the whole point of taking collagen is to restore your joint health by bringing down inflammation, providing the collagen it needs, and to reduce the inflammation and help with the pain. All right. So take it if you have joint issues, take the collagen, but you can also stack this with the collagen to help rebuild that joint. And the other product is super, super strong relief. And what this will do is this help to stop the pain, the minor aches quickly. So it's a topical solution. It's a topical application here, and you just use it if you have on your muscle pain or even joint pain. All right. So I have these two new products. Take a look at them. They're very high quality. And then I have deodorants. You can get them in citrus or peppermint, lavender, and tea tree. They're made from essential oils from the Himalayas, very high quality, and they're dual purpose. Use them as a daily deodorant, but they will also help to detoxify your body. When you detoxify your body regularly, you help your endocrine system and your immune system. I also have anti-aging boxes that have been curated at different price points for you to slow down the aging process or target certain systems. Like if you want to target just anti-aging, I have these different boxes here, the beginners, the advanced, the deluxe, the super deluxe, but also you can target skin. I have skin products here where you get the gel, the vitamin C, and the collagen. I also have products that are the anti-Fauci products that will help you to navigate through the winter season. I also have longevity boost box that has the Boomer Boost and your choice of Gladiator barley or heirloom barley. Getting the boxes will actually help you save some money. They're a little cheaper than buying them individually. I also have the longevity boxes. This one's the immune system box where you get the lignans, the turmeric, and the olive leaf extract. So go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get those great products. I also have classes. You can get knowledge on pulmonology or immunology for only 25 bucks. You get lots of PDFs and lots of videos, get lots of information. You get a unique password when you pay for the module. You can log in as many times as you want. You just log in into classes and type in your password, and you can download the PDFs and watch the videos. So those are some great ways to help support the work. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the great products that I offer. If you follow my advice, you can slow down the aging process and boost up your immune system. All right, with that said, what I want to do is go to the Fed data now. We're going to talk about the overnight repurchase agreements. This is where the Federal Reserve has an open market window for institutions to access if they need money short term. This is usually overnight lending. Depends on when the next business day is. But I want to show you that this is the activity that's been taking place for 1 month. Or I'm sorry, 1 year. 1 year. All right. So you have let's see here, 1 year. Okay. So this is 1 year, 1 year graph. Now, so we're having 2025 all the way up to our current. And you notice that most of 2025 was pretty flat, not much being at. And then all of a sudden it blips up in June. All right. And then flat again. But then what is interesting here is that over time, individuals or an individual is accessing the overnight window and asking for 5 billion, another 5 billion in October, and then 2 billion, another 2 billion or 3 billion, and then it jumps to almost 30 billion, just under 30 billion, 29.4 billion. Then it comes back down and it's asking, for 4 billion and another 5 billion. And then it comes back up in December 1st, 13.5 billion. And then near the end of the year, it was 16. And then all of a sudden, it was 31.5 billion. This is in billions of dollars. All right. Now, people would say, oh, that's no big deal. But the reality of the situation, it is a big deal. Now, take a look at what happened 10 years ago. Or no, max. Let's go to max. All right. This is going to 2020. I'm sorry, 2000, year 2000, all the way to 2026. All right. The area that I just showed is this area right here. What was going on in 2025 and the tail end of 2025. All right. In December. And you can see that you had 9/11, right? 9/11 was what was the 12th of 9/11 2001. And during that time period, you're looking at about 6 billion being needed. But the access window was starting to become more and more prevalent. All right. But it stayed within about the 5 billion range, 5 billion range. This is when you had the easy money starting to flow in and the subprime mortgages started to be generated. And then you had these different mortgage-backed securities and credit default swaps being created in the financial industries. So all of a sudden, it starts, you can see that the magnitude starts to become more. All right. It's getting closer to 10 billion. And then all of a sudden, you had Lehman, the crisis. This is when institutions were starting to have problems in 2006, 2007. All right. And then Lehman goes bankrupt, and then it's nice and calm again. Now, it's calm because there's a different tool that the Fed was using, and that was through TARP to help the banks. So it was calm, 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 calm. And then all of a sudden, COVID. All right. And what's interesting is near the tail end of the year, there was 61 billion in November of 2019. And then and then COVID originally officially hit the United States in January. In January, the tail end of January, beginning of February, tail end of January, but it was probably in the United States already. But the point here is that during that time frame of COVID, the bank window was accessed, and it was heavily accessed just before it officially hit the United States, which I think is very interesting. All right, it's as if they had some institutions had premonition of it. All right, but okay, but with that said, the point here is that access to the window was pretty high. It was at 61. And this is just treasuries. This is the treasury repurchase agreement. There's also a mortgage-backed security repurchase agreement. All right, so this is only part of the equation here. Some of these institutions were also providing the Federal Reserve with mortgage-backed securities to get money. So if an institution needs short-term liquidity, they give the Fed some treasuries and some mortgage-backed securities. They get money back, and then they have to repurchase them at it, and then they have to, pay a certain interest on it, which is the Fed funds rate. But okay, so what we have here is three major epochs. I'll call it the pre-Lehman epoch, right? Where there was lots of funding that eventually led to the fall of Lehman. All right. The COVID epoch, where funding was happening during COVID and also just before COVID. All right. And then you have this year. It doesn't normally have the bottom line here is it's normally inactive. There's some activity, but it's low. It was very active during the heyday of the mortgage-backed security and the credit default swaps. All right. But that died down. COVID. And then, COVID, like in February of 2020, it was 8 billion that was accessed during COVID. All right. And then there was in December, it was 15 billion. And in October, it was 55 billion. November, it was 61 billion. Something big was happening here. And then all of a sudden, we had that major shutdown from COVID. Well, you start seeing that there's a lot of activity that's happening here, right? And it started in June. What happens in June? It's around, it could be tariff related. It may have even been crypto related. Who knows? But some stress in the banking industry. So I'm a little concerned about like, what does this mean? All right. Yeah, lots of activity in this epoch. What do we have? Major financial crisis in the mortgage-backed security realm. What do we have here? Pandemic. What's going on here? Is it war? Is it some sort of financial crisis? I don't know. But the thing is that you're talking about a lot of activity in a very short amount of time, starting from June to the end of the year. All right. And even at the beginning of this year, there was 19 billion, $19.5 billion that was accessed on the 3rd. So and then shortly after that, we end up, hitting Venezuela. Are we going to have, more military conflict? Is this epoch really trying to, give some liquidity to the banks to be able to absorb the shock of some sort of military operation? Maybe the banks are exposed to longing oil and that oil is going to go down because of an oversupply and they're trying to absorb the shock. Or maybe there is something to do with counterparty risk with China. I don't know the answer to these questions. I do know this. Each one of these epochs has led to a major crisis in the world. The crisis of Lehman, right here, and the crisis of COVID. What's going on here? What crisis is starting to emerge? Now you got to remember the access to the Fed window isn't lagged. It happens before the big event. See the access to the window before Lehman blew up, before Bear Stearns blew up. All right. So the access to the window happens before the access to the window in November of 2019, the access to the window in September of 2019. This is all before COVID. Now, people would say, oh, they're just trying to have liquidity near year end for Q4. Okay, well, why don't you see that same level of activity every year? You don't. So it's a problem. This is a signal of something building up. Some sort of stress is building up. It could be related to crypto. It could be related to war. It could be related to, um, some sort of geopolitical conflict in Europe or in the Middle East. I don't know. I don't have the answer why it's happening, but I do know it is happening. So, you know, how to play this in the market, I'm not really sure. It may be prudent to have some cash on hand when there's a market correction to be able to withstand it, but these epochs are usually pretty bad. Now, it doesn't guarantee, it's also going into an election year. And if they want to weaken the Republican Party, then the powers that be could tank the market and hurt the Republicans in the midterm election. So it may be prudent to have about maybe 10 to 15, 20% of your portfolio in cash to be able to withstand the shock and then buy into it. But I feel as though there's some sort of market correction. There may be a 10% market correction in S&P 500 coming in Q1 or Q2 of this year. But something doesn't look right here. Something to me is stating that there's a stress that's building up in the system, and this is not your normal operations of illiquidity. And you just, and this is just, just to tie you over, and it's simple. No, because why didn't that happen in 2024 or 2022 or 2021 or, in 2018? 2017, 2016. See, it doesn't normally happen. This is Lehman crisis. This is a financial crisis, and it's starting to build up because of all these mortgage-backed securities and credit default swaps. Also, the war in the Middle East. This is COVID, and this is something new. Is it crypto related? Is it oil base related? Is it some sort of Iran related or China related? I don't know, but something's building up. All right, with that said, it may be prudent to have about 10 to 15% or maybe even 20% of your portfolio in cash because there may be a 10% correction in the S&P 500 in 2026, most likely happening in the first quarter or second quarter. Another thing to keep in mind is maybe this is the signal that's starting to build up on maybe the Mag 7 are going to burst. Maybe this is an AI bubble beginning the signs of stress. And, this is maybe potentially the early signal for the AI bubble. I don't know, but I definitely know it's not normal. This definitely not normal. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Help support the work that I do by getting the products that I offer. Make sure you use discount 5, all caps discount number 5. You get $5 off any order. If you spend $100 or more, you get a free gift until supplies last. Thank you for listening. Please share the links and ask your social media to follow me. And hopefully you are paying attention to what I'm saying about this overnight repurchase agreement with the treasuries. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.